Boom! What is up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of the Agency Podcast. Today, with my good friend and client, Mr. James Willis. James, just say a little bit something about you. Welcome to the podcast, and just so the people know a little bit about who you are and what you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me on this very exciting opportunity, Johannes. So, my name is James, owner of Novum Growth Partners, and essentially we are a lead generation agency working specifically with commercial cleaning and FM companies all around the world. So UK, US, Canada, South Africa. So nice and niche, nice and weird, but yeah, learned an awful lot of things in the, what is it now? Year and a couple of months. So yeah, excited to get into it on this chat and hopefully help out a few people that are listening.
Cool, bro. Like, how did you get into that niche, though?
Well, so with that niche in particular, it was sort of coming off the back of a few conversations at an event in Tallinn where I met you for the first time, in fact, actually.
Yeah, I was banging.
With seriously good time. But when we were talking business, there was kind of a bit of a repeating theme of people kind of talking about these sort of low sophistication markets, these kind of like local service based markets. And there was a couple of people I was talking to were kind of taking on these clients who you'd like when you kind of, at least like when I was first starting out, everyone wants to do the really sexy things, like the sort of gains like the SaaS and the sort of the AI products and all these the sort of more glamorous options. And then you sort of hear about these people doing like weird and wonderful things like HVAC, waste removal, like all these weird things. And so this was when around the time I started working with my business partner, Tommy, and we were just like, well, you know what, let's just have a crack and let's just test this out. So we sent out a first campaign to some commercial cleaners across the UK, and it just absolutely ripped. Like, I think we closed like 3 deals within the first couple of weeks, and then haven't really looked back since. So that's sort of the story of how it came about, at least.
Well, sorry to interrupt your video, but it's for something important. I know exactly that only 20% of you will watch this video until the end, and I don't want you to miss out. I have a new Skool group, all right? And if you like my content, you have to join the Skool group, because there you're going to find my best shit from now on. And it's completely free. And I have something super special for you. I have created a course for you that I call the Natural Success Code. And what I'm going to do there is teaching you in 7 days exactly how you can find all your hidden mental blockers and get your natural success mindset back that you had as a kid before society installed all the bullshit. So if you like my shit, join my Skool group below. The link is below. Sign up right now and I'll see you inside. And now continue the video. I would watch it to the end if I would be you, because it's fucking fire. Okay, cool. And then you made it bigger and bigger, right? So basically right now, like where are you approximately at? Like how many clients you're running right now?
Right now on the books, we've got 14 clients, I think.
Okay, cool. All right. So you build it up quite nicely. In which time did you build it up like that?
Like I say, we've been going for just over a year, like a year and a couple of months now. So in that sort of time frame. But yeah, I mean, as I'm sure we'll sort of get into, we sort of made some real rookie mistakes along the way. But ultimately, we were just on a call this morning, kind of talking about things, and it's like invaluable lessons learned. So I'm sure we'll cover those as we get into this chat.
Fire, man. So one question, like the agency space has exploded in the last few years, like you already know, right? Because we know each other some years already. So everyone is an expert now. So how are you differentiating yourself in such a crowded?
Yeah. Well, I think first and foremost, obviously, it's like specialization and kind of get like making sure you are working within one specific niche. Like it's kind of such like cliche 101 stuff. And kind of from the start of my journey within the agency space, like from mentors like yourself, shout out to Levy as well. Like just sort of drilled into like you need to be niching down so that you can actually then become an expert in your particular field, like rather than trying to be all things to all men and sort of trying to do just sort of generic B2B lead gen offers or whatever agency you're running, like you're not going to get very far, and you'll find yourself just picking up the sort of the bin juice clients that no one else really wants to pick up, who in the grand scheme of things are going to be a lot more headaches than they're worth for not much money. So I think absolutely like specializing in a specific niche, and then kind of because through doing that as well, obviously, and this isn't kind of groundbreaking stuff or earth-shattering theory that I'm coming out with now, but like by spending time and just hopping on sales calls, speaking to these people and just like knowing their markets inside out, it just makes life infinitely easier for yourself as you then go along and when you're coming to pick up new clients, because when you can kind of talk the language, you can talk to the exact reasons, like the things that keep these people up at night, like the things that that you can help them with, that other people in their exact position, they don't know how to do, and you've done it for them previously. So like I say, I think like niching down, absolutely essential when it comes to kind of being an expert in the agency space.
And this is exactly a good point, because we're like, I think, to be honest, like, also when you look back, I think when I started out, right, whatever, I don't know, fucking 4 years ago, something like this, it was like the golden times of cold email, right? Like I remember I had, if you watched some other videos from me, you know that, but if you don't, then it's a funny one. So I bought two Microsoft domains at this time, right? No, well, sorry, I have one domain. I bought one domain and two inboxes, all right? With one domain and two inboxes, I went on to Sales Handy, because I don't know if that was already instantly or if it was modded. I did not find it, right? But I was just like, because at the start, what I was doing was like, I was working for a company that did ads for like golf courses and shit. And there was like 75 golf courses in Marbella, and I should do it for whole Europe. And at the end, I just copy pasted emails all the time. And I was like, this is stupid. Like, well, there must be a better way to do that. So I just looked like email mass sending, blah, blah. And I found this thing, and I was like, sales thing. I'm like, okay, how does this work? Yeah, you buy a domain and you buy it in to take two inboxes, and then this is how it works. I'm like, okay, cool. So I bought this one domain, I got these two inboxes, and I swear to God, I punched out like 1,000 emails a day from two inboxes. It was completely
Literally.
insane, with like 3 links inside and shit. And I maybe disconnected once every week or something like that. But then you wrote them a message, hey, disconnected, can you please reconnect it? Boom. And then it was just fucking working again, right? Like a chat.
Yeah.
It was great. It was amazing. Like, let's be honest. And also, like, when you think about like, I remember when the first time came this, I mean, it's all before AI, right? That's when we started. We started without AI. It's crazy if you think about it, right? It just started with
Mm.
copy. And like when this first Google Sheet stuff came out, it was like, hey, I've seen from New York, you're also a Knicks fan. And this shit
Yeah.
was working.
Yeah, the location based joke, like what fucking shite is that? But at the time when you could send out a scale, it was like holy, like you thought you were like limitless, like just absolutely chopping it up. But no, it's like before kind of starting this agency, I mean, like before, well, this was like the very start of when I was kind of went separate down this sort of entrepreneurial path, and there was but just when you were saying then, it was like I remember there was one client who I was working on with a mate of mine, who like we literally had a lead list. Like I set it up. We had a lead list of, I think off the top of my head, I think we had 52 people. I don't know why that stuck with me. 52 people in the first generation of the Apollo sequencer when they just released it, from like one email account, just exactly like zero personalization, no AI, no nothing. But then from that, like this was when it was like shooting fish in a barrel. Like it was just absolute piss. Like and from that one list through, it wasn't just email, to be fair. We were doing some like some SMS stuff, cold calling, but like we got like contracts with 4 of the 6 biggest national companies in that particular industry. But of those 4, I think maybe like 2 came from email, from that tiny little list. So the game has absolutely changed. And even just like within this last year, like in the time that we've been doing what we're doing, like it's a completely different beast, and a lot more sort of goes on behind the scenes. That and it kind of like you going back to your previous question, previous point. You know, it's like it's kind of there's the question around sort of saturation, like is cold email dead, like all of these things, like
Yeah,
every man
that's a
and
big
his dog,
question. Isn't that Mr.
every,
James
every,
Bond?
every man every man and his dog having a crack at cold email. Um but I think, like, fundamentally, like, I don't know, I imagine, well, I know for a fact that you will be the exact same, but like like now, like having the agency, having like the LinkedIn and whatnot, like my inbox, I get bombarded with all
Yeah.
these cold emails. And when you kind of see what you're up against and what other people are sending, it's like it's rare that I'll see one and be like, fuck, that's actually really good. Like I'm interested, or it's relevant. Like the amount of slop that people send out. So it's like, yes, it's saturated. Yes, there's loads of people trying these things, but I do still think that it's like, if you're intelligent in how you do things, you actually like get the fundamentals right. And we've spoken about this before, you know, like with all this sort of the AI personalization and all the wizardry that can be done now. Obviously, depending on the kind of the sophistication of the market you're going after, and who it is you're trying to get into. Like I found with our campaigns for ourselves, like just going back to basics, talking like a human, not trying to go put in some crazy personalization, is outperforming the emails we put together with the ridiculous personalization, because people have seen it all now, and they've seen the pioneers do it, who are really fucking good, and then they've seen all the bandwagon people who've just jumped on and tried to do it themselves, and then they've seen all the sort of the people after them who are just like trying it out because they've seen on TikTok or whatever that you can do this, and it's just, so they've kind of gone through the full cycle now. And that's not to say that I don't believe in like the personalization. Obviously, like the stuff that people can do with like clay and stuff these days is insane. But at least from what I've seen, like just going back to basics, like just getting the fundamentals right, it's been working nicely.
Yeah, I mean, you have your ICP anyway, like you so clearly defined, you know what I mean? You don't need too much because you're always speaking to the same person anyways. Like what you need to do, you know, like there's not specific personalization that you maybe need to put in because you just anyway write almost to the same person, right? But that's the thing. So like what I realized myself, I see it going into two different direction. Like obviously it's going into the AI question, right? So like the number one direction is like the AI is getting so smart that really like you don't even understand anymore that it's written by AI. This is the one option that I see, and I think that's also going to be fast, to be honest. Maybe even complete AI agents that just do everything for us, and I think that's also coming soon, to be honest. But on the other hand, I see really getting back to basics and just really writing nice copy and just writing, like you said, human copy and just copy that flows. You know what I mean? Like I have, for example, also a little bit problem with spin text because spin text can fuck your copy up, right? It can like the
Mm.
flow that the copy normally has, spin text can just destroy it. So like I'm very with spin text, I'm always going into it and I try all kind of variants. I'm perfectionist in this way, for example. I always check all variants and I go for it and I'm like, okay, how does it look like this? How does it look like that? And there's just one, two words wrong, then it fucks up the flow. And for me personally, and you let me know your opinion about it. It doesn't matter if it was for Allegro or Cialdini. Like the best emails for me that ripped always had an amazing flow when you read them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's like when you kind of, well, literally, it's that like one line leads on to the next, and it just like
Exactly.
it's a pleasure to sort of go through the email
Yes.
rather than kind of like, fucking hell, they've sent me this massive like wall of text, or like they've like tried way too hard to sort of be like trying to be too clever.
Yeah.
And I think, like, going back to your point there about the sort of AI and the way that things are going, like obviously it's absolutely insane the rate that things are changing. Like these new tools that are coming out every week, you're seeing these new agents, new models, everything like this. But I think you're absolutely right in there's kind of one direction is that it's going to get to the point where there's like, I'm about to contradict myself here, but the where the AI gets so good you can't really tell it's AI. But I think at the same time that when we're like when the AI is kind of at that point, like it's one thing that AI will never be able to fully master, or like fully kind of completely take over is like that human connection. And like, yes, it could write an email that, or like, obviously we're like talking here specifically about email, but like it could put an email together that sounds very natural, but it doesn't have those sort of those like those human quirks, or like that little bit weird, like the sort of little like bits of weirdness that you sort of drop in there, or like slight turns of phrase that like an AI would never think to use, or like specific like terminology, or kind of like the sort of not so much like slang, but you know what I mean. You're just kind of
Mhm.
like dropping that sophistication level down a notch. So where it's like you could have a system that's kind of producing these like really well written emails that are sort of grammatically perfect and everything like this, but then it's kind of to the point where it's like it's too perfect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And kind of going back to what I was saying before about like the campaign that like the campaigns I've seen working really nicely, where the copy is like intentionally like not sloppy, but just kind of much more personable. And yeah, not trying to overcomplicate things, which I've absolutely like hands up. I've been very guilty of doing that, like trying to get way too complicated with a copy, trying to sound far too smart, and yeah, a couple of flops along the way, but no, it's really interesting. But I mean, like to like what in what kind of aspects of work are you sort of most using AI at the minute? Would you say like in your kind of day to day, like what applications or like what sort of use cases do you use?
Yeah, that's a great question. I use it mostly, obviously, for research. I also use it for doing like LinkedIn posts and stuff like this. I use Poppy, for example, like you know that I recommended you two guys if you're watching this. Poppy is quite, I think it's the iPhone of AI, really, right? You can do
You'll see
almost,
Johannes's referral
yeah,
link below, I'm
kind of put
sure.
my link there. I never planned that shit, but whatever. Let's just put it in.
Link in
So there's
bio.
like this
Yeah.
guy's always just posting some fucking shit. No, honestly, like it just comes up, guys, but I will still post it there because it's great. Poppy is fire. Um, so I use it for that. And but like on my YouTube personally, I just like right now, like I just really flow. Like I just be 100% real without scripting shit because especially when I also do like every first I do my raw and unscripted, I just have a topic and I just start rambling. Like right. And I think that's also a point that will be more less and less seen, unfortunately, but it will be the people will love it. The people will exactly because I mean I grew my channel now into almost 6K in 4 months for a reason. Because I believe I'm just raw and authentically me. And that's something that especially with all the AI bullshit and all that stuff that is going on, will be something special for people still. And they will still really like it. So that's what I mean. Like LinkedIn, for example, I really like use more AI than I do somewhere else, for example. But YouTube for me is like only just raw and real me. So like that's for example the thing. But otherwise, where I use it, use it for research. Obviously, I use it for automation, making things. I use it for like for example, now I want to do a project where I'm plugging in agents to follow up with a process just because I believe that the SDRs that I'm working with are fucking useless and I rather plug in an AI. I don't say with who I'm working here, but trust me, I'm sure the AI
I
is
hope
going
they
to do a
see this
better job because
video.
it cannot do
I should say, I hope they don't watch your YouTube.
they cannot. I don't think they do, but
Let's hope
but they,
not.
they they cannot do it worse. It's impossible, my friend. Trust me, it's impossible. Like so, that's why I plug it in. I'm really curious what's going to happen here. So that's what I do. So I use it mostly for these kind of things. In general, I think, like, let's be honest, we use it the whole day. We use it like 60, 70% for everything that we do. We just have it always open. We use it for everything. People say, like Larry said this last time, that he said they made studies that people get dumber from using AI. And I can't
100%.
believe
I agree with that. I can testify to that personally. Whereas like I will kind of doubt my own like mental capacity or like ability to sort of solve a problem without kind of verifying it with GPT or Grok or whatever else it is.
Bro,
But
and it's just so easy, and you have
um
it on your phone, even Claude, like fucking stupid questions where you normally would have thought by yourself, like, hey, what's this thing this?
yeah,
What's that? Blah, blah, blah. You just like, you know. I'm curious it's going to where it's going, like also with the generation right now that's growing up with it, bro. Like what the hell is going to happen with these guys? They don't think anymore by themselves. They're just they're like, just like
Yeah,
Alexa, this thing where you have in the house. Like this, like also a friend of mine has it in the house, use it for everything. Alexa, play music, Alexa, do this, Alexa, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, 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 yeah,
and this is going to be,
yeah.
it's going to get in this direction. I saw
Absolutely,
today,
absolutely.
I saw not today. I saw today in the morning. I saw. I think it was the Diary of a CEO, and there was one of the AI guys there, and he said in 2027 we don't have to work anymore. That's what he literally said.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was listening to a podcast with Elon the other day, and he was kind of saying something similar. Or it's like there's kind of a couple of different routes that, or like a couple of different endings to the film is basically how he puts it, where it's like
Yeah,
there's one which is kind of like the sort of the utopia where all everyone lives this sort of life of abundance where the 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 AI agents will take care of like all the sort of the admin side, and then you've got the actual humanoids, which like that's a completely different thing as well. Like that's,
yeah.
I don't know, that's fucking mental for me. Like that's like the future, but like in
It is.
reality when and we're really not that far away. But then the other side of it is like in the wrong hands, it just kind of being used for complete and utter control, complete surveillance. I mean, no, we don't we don't need to we don't need to go down the political route on this lovely
Yeah,
podcast,
we don't.
but no, like you sort of see how it's already being deployed, and like back home in the UK, like on the sort of the HMRC, like they have access to the systems that are using to basically make sure you're paying enough taxes is crazy. But we can avoid that topic. We can talk about something
Yeah,
something else, I'm sure.
well, I mean, like
Yeah,
I saw an ad like also yesterday about these human robots. Then you can already buy them for 20 grand. Like, and it does your
yeah.
whole
There's
housework and stuff. That's fucking insane,
yeah.
bro. It's going to be
I
soon.
can't.
Like I think next year, all the rich people have a human fucking robot in the house that just does everything.
Yeah, it's insane. Like there's I can't remember I know exactly the product you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but like Tesla have got
Yeah.
Optimus. There's a Chinese company called Unitree that are also building these insane things. I don't know, it's going to be a very 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 different world in not too long. And I think the kind of the question around sort of AI and like how the hell you kind of survive in a world where AI is so prevalent. I think ultimately it's just like you just have to kind of stay at the bleeding edge, because like if you kind of get too comfortable, you're just going to get absolutely lapped by the people who are adaptable and happy to deploy these new systems and just get like infinite leverage that you just don't have access to. So I'm like really making a conscious effort to sort of keep up to date with the absolute latest and greatest. And then there's kind of the question of kind of, do you go down the sort of the like building these things out, or just kind of enjoying the products and like using the different tools that other people make? And that's kind of something that I have been thinking about. But I suppose it's my concern. I'd be keen to hear your opinion on this, but my concern would be if we were to go down the kind of the building and like really getting into the weeds of kind of like actually trying to develop or sort of put together these new products, new agents, whatever it may be, is that, as we've seen with the different models, like the GPT models, it's like as soon as a new model comes along, it can basically just do everything that every single wrapper and every single tool that was built on the previous model could do itself anyway. So then you're just sort of wasting your time. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know. Yeah, I'm keen to hear what you think about that. To be fair.
I mean, if you think about it, like AI, what I know is AI is growing 3.3 times per month, right? That's what I know. Okay. And if you think about that, like I think only a few people like us, like because we are working with it every day and we are like really conscious about it. We have an understanding what's going to happen. I believe majority of human beings, they have no idea. They will be like, what the hell is going on here? Because they're not expecting that to happen. But like if you really listen to the people that are really knowing their stuff, they say that in 2027 the world will be completely different. And I believe it's true. Because if you think about it, 3.3 times, if it grows like this, that's like, I don't know, I don't kind of calculate. I would need to ask AI. That's like how much
Yeah.
in a year. Well, that's what I mean. So like that's why. But I mean, obviously, you can build products, and I believe the same thing when you build a product is you have to stay on top of your game always. So when there's new things coming in, you have to make it. You have to improve it. You have to improve it. You have to improve it all the time. Like that's what you see. Like that's why when you build a SaaS today, you have to go with the flow. So basically, you have to stay always on top of your game. You have to understand exactly what are the new things, what are new stuff is doing, and you have to add it into your SaaS. Like it's not going to be like in the old times you build something and then it's going to work just forever, like instantly or smartly. But also these guys, they're always building up now, right? They're building up more and more and more, and like there's coming new stuff. So everybody that has a SaaS today, I believe they need to always rebuild and rebuild and rebuild because otherwise they're gone. That's what I think about it. Like if
Yeah.
you're building a SaaS, it also be something, it's not going to be something like I think in the old times when when all the SaaS stuff came out, maybe you could build a SaaS and for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, you had to do nothing because it was just one idea and that's what it was, right? Especially before AI, I believe, right? But now,
Mhm.
how fast it all grows, if you are not staying on top, there will be another product that is going to be better than yours and people will just switch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my
I
feeling.
mean,
But if you
this
stay
is
on top of your game, then yes, then definitely you can stay on top of it. Like that. That's what I mean. Like if you look at instantly smart lead, for example, that all of us are using, they're getting better and better and better. New features, new this, new that, more automated. This API, blah 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 blah. They always continue to stay on top of the game because if they don't, they will become somebody else. But because they do, they stay as market leaders.
yeah. I mean, I can't sort of speak too much too much more into the technical side. Otherwise, I think I'll get a bit out ahead of my skis. But I mean, like, it's so interesting. Like, even just like within sort of our circles, like seeing like the stuff that like Rob and Rene are doing, and like these like the automation side of things. And like we were talking about this just last night actually on a call. Basically, the kind of the sort of the next evolution of what agencies will kind of look like and kind of how um and basically kind of getting to the point where as the sort of the founder, director, whatever you refer to yourself as, like the amount of work that you can have just automated for you. And obviously that's just going to exponentially increase. So again, going to the point of kind of just making sure that you are like really, really staying up to date with exactly what's going on. Because as soon as like the sort of the next wave of things come around and then you've got people in your space who adopt them and then all of a sudden they get like 10x leverage compared to you on their time and then they can just rip 10 times as many sales calls, they're going to absolutely lap you. um so it is interesting, it is interesting for sure. um but yeah.
But do you believe you as an agency owner, obviously, do you believe that AI will replace your job, what you're doing completely, and this very soon? So what you're gonna do then, or do you believe that what's your part in it still? Like, do you believe that you still will be needed?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I mean, I'm coming at this from like lead generation, right? That's so I think that, like, as sort of alluded to earlier, I don't think that AI will ever be able to replace the human need for like actual connection and relationship building and trust, as you pointed out earlier. So, do I think that in the future there'll be some sort of AI system that could essentially do the work of what we do end to end? Probably. I mean, like the rate that things are going, like almost definitely. But I think at least in the sort of the medium term, being like the next couple of years at least, I think like the fulfillment side of things, I think absolutely that will be getting replaced. I think it's basically kind of if honestly, like, that's fucking brilliant. Like, come on, Elon, pull your finger out, mate. Like, let's have a go. But I firmly believe that, like, if you put your eggs in the sort of the sales basket, like, you're not getting replaced anytime soon. At least compared to sort of jobs that are much more based around sort of data entry or manipulating data or anything where you're just you're in spreadsheets or ticking boxes in different tools. I think, like, those are the roles that are just going to get absolutely wiped out in no time at all. But the ability to actually hold a conversation with someone, to build a relationship, build that rapport, and maintain that relationship over a long time, and provide value, I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. And I think that kind of ties into sort of, I think that like community and things like that are going to be such, like, that's just going to be in more and more demand as the further this tech gets, because it's like the sort of lost my train of thought a little bit there. But like with like social media, for example, it's like, in theory we're more connected than ever, but in reality we've never, like, I think as individuals, as society, I mean, not trying to get all deep here, but I think we've been we're sort of more atomized and less connected than ever. So that side of things, I think the kind of the sales element, or like human to human connection, essentially is not going anywhere. So that, like I say, covers sort of sales, like the community building, the trust, the relationships. But yeah, I think I'll be very interested to sort of keep my eye on the sort of the back end, the fulfillment side, and when that can be nicely automated, like when I can just sort of say to some, like, with natural language, just be like, right, I want to target these people, these are the specific criteria, XYZ, this is the ICP, da 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 da, go get the data, verify it through these different tools, perfect, and then just returns the lead list with all the relevant info, all the different variables I'm after, and the verified data. Then that'll be a happy day. That'll be so nice.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
And I really don't think that's too far away.
No, I don't see this very far away. I have a feeling 6 months I give it. That is my feeling, because it goes so fast, bro. It goes so fast. If you think about it, look 6 months back, like, now we have Poppy and all that stuff. Like 6 months back, we just had, like, we had by far not what we have now. It grows so freaking fast. It's crazy. So, like, I give it 6 months. And, like, the thing what I do believe is that people like us, we will make more and more money. Because, like, when you learn how to control AI and you know how to basically use it in the way that is productive for other people, you will not have any more so much cost, because you replace salaries, humans, with AI. Your margin will get better and higher, and you as a human being, for example, like, you could just run an agency. Let's say, even if you don't want to do it yourself anymore, you just put 2 or 3 salespeople in, and you could run it, because everything else, I believe, we're not far away to automate it. That's my thoughts. You know, if you want to stay in yourself, obviously, as a founder, and you still want to do sales, that's great, but you will not have to. Because, I mean, already now you don't have to as a founder doing sales if you don't want to. That's what I mean. In general, where I can go is, like, you're an agency owner, all right? You have maybe 2 people that do sales for you, and they grow it, and you just fucking sit in the Caribbean and just let's sip cocktails.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not bad, is it? It's not bad. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, like you say, I really don't think we're too far off that at all. And I mean, it's just the leverage point. It's like the amount of leverage that can come from just having these tools. Like you say, you're replacing entire teams, or you're replacing specific roles that would have had a salary, and they would have had benefits and all these other things. So it's like there's, I can't remember the full context of this, but I was listening to a conversation the other day about how kind of basically before too long there's going to be like one-man unicorns, or like unicorns with like sort of only like 3 employees or whatever, because they can just leverage this tech to the point where you just, like literally the situation you just described. So it's very, very interesting. And I think it's easy to, I think it's very easy to kind of get a bit overwhelmed and a bit scared by it all and get a bit sort of doom and gloom. But I think at the end of the day, as you sort of rightly pointed out, it's like if you're staying on top of these things and you're like keeping a keen eye, like if you can sort of get the understanding, get the skills necessary to be able to like wield this stuff for yourself, like you're gonna be fucking sweet, like regardless of whatever like in the sort of the macro picture everything else looks like. I think it will be, yeah, it will just be a very, very interesting time indeed. So if anyone watching this has sussed out some agents that can handle fulfillment, then hit us up. Keen to hear from you. Please.
You're an agent that does
Yeah.
the full fulfillment. Where you, imagine you just basically talk to it, say like, look, I have this campaign for this client. This is the ICP. Like, really get me the lists, grab me the copy, and then just put it all into Smartly, and then let me know when you're done.
Yeah.
I can double check
Yeah.
it one more time. That's it. Fucking brilliant, right? And then I just click, okay, go,
Yeah.
let's go. No, not okay. Then you do the whole thing one more time, and you rewrite the copy. You just does everything. You just say like, okay, yes, no, and then like, no, they don't like it. Just be blah blah blah. And then you give you 5 different versions, maybe as well. You choose one of it. We are not far away from that. I'm telling you this. We are not far away from that. And then, like you said, the human point will be more and more important because people don't want to do deals with AI. I don't think this is like this. Maybe some kind of niches,
No.
yes, for sure. 10, but like
Yeah.
other kind of stuff, there will be still the human connection because you want to work with a human, you don't want to work with an AI. I mean, you never know where it goes in a few years. Maybe people want to work with AIs because like that's much better. It's always there 24/7. I can always call it. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But like in
Yeah. Well,
general, I
yeah.
would say the human perspective will be still very important. And what I see as well is the community thing. And this is obviously what I teach, mindset. Because if you can do everything automated, the only thing that you need to make it work is a mind. Because like if you don't have the mindset, if you think you cannot because you're this, you're that, because you have an imposter syndrome, you're not good enough, you're this, you're not going to build shit, right? That's the thing. So like
Yeah.
when you have a strong mindset here, then you can use all that tactics and all that strategies and skills and AI and all that stuff to build massive things. But if you don't have the mindset, you don't even believe that you can build it, forget about it, right? So that's why mindset, I believe, is
Yeah.
going to get also even more and more important now, especially with all the thing like you said. Like I mean, I'm a little bit scared already with this generation when they grow up. They're having like mobile phones with I don't know 10, 12 years old. Like what is crazy to me, right? Because like it's normal because you cannot tell. I know from my brother, you cannot tell to your daughter that you're not getting a mobile phone. Everybody has one. Like you are the worst father in the world, right? She will hate you forever. Like you cannot do that, right? But like I'm scared of it because like remember like when we grow up, like for me even more than you, I was the whole day outside. Like we didn't have like my first mobile phones came out when I was like 17, 18, right? I was the whole day outside in the woods playing Indiana and cowboys and God knows what. Like we were just really in our fantasy and stuff like this. And the good thing is we were not comparing ourselves with nobody. Today with 10, 11, they already start to compare themselves with others on Instagram. And that's scary to me. This is the point that I don't like about all that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Because somehow
because
we
I'm,
don't like they don't have a real childhood anymore, you know?
yeah, no, exactly. Well, I mean, because I think, because I was born in 2000, so I think like my sort of cohort, we just kind of like we caught the very tail end of sort of life before social media, and before like the smartphones or whatever. Like, I think I remember what was my first phone I had, like it was like a third hand me down like BlackBerry Curve or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
But like, but being at that age now, with TikTok, Instagram, AI, like all these different things, it's like fucking hell. Like you, I don't know, but I think it's, yeah. It's I mean, personally, like you say, like I'm from the countryside, so like we were just out fucking messing
Yeah,
around,
exactly.
jumping into the
Yeah.
river and all of this sort of stuff. Um but yeah, I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous of them. But
Ah,
then at the
or
same
the
but
whole.
at the same time, I think like but then if you would kind of take like what we were saying before, it's like where if you're kind of staying on top of these things, then in the future you're sort of guaranteeing yourself that you're going to be in a very nice position. At the same time, like obviously you'll have some kids who will just kind of just they'll just be like just dopamine maxing the entire time and not do anything because they're
Mhm,
just like watching absolutely slop on TikTok or whatever. But then at the same
mhm.
time, like the people who naturally like the sort of the entrepreneurs in their generation, like they will be absolute weapons. Like
This you can already see now.
they
There's
will
a
be
lot of them already out
absolute
there.
machines. And it's like
Yeah.
exactly, it's like you see these videos of these like 14-year-olds making like absurd amounts of money, and it's just like holy fuck. Like when I was 14, like what the hell was I doing? Yeah, not for the not for the
Always
podcast.
pro and contra, right? Like this is always the thing, right?
Yeah,
All right, go. Let me go to a little bit of a different topic. What I wanted to ask you, like most agencies, right? They hit a wall between to 10 and 30 grand, right? Because the founder becomes the bottleneck. That's the feeling that I always have, especially when I talk to you guys. So where are you in the journey and what's your biggest scaling challenge?
biggest scaling challenge I think was so like when at the start we were sort of floating around the kind of like 5-10K for a while, and that's kind of going back to my previous point where we were kind of trying to be all things to all people, and we were sort of like and this was more so before I started working with my business partner, and I was kind of working in multiple different niches, multiple different offers, and there's just sort of no there's like basically when we kind of got to the point where like right, this is our market, this is the sort of the offer that we're pushing, and we just knew then we have the exact approach we need to build out, we've got the systems that we need to build out. And once we kind of realized that that worked for a couple of people, it's then because we're only in that particular market, we're only talking to that particular buyer in the particular tonality for their service, it just makes scaling so much easier. And that's the appeal of like sort of local service based stuff, where it's like it's not rocket science at the end of the day on the fulfillment side. It's just a case of kind of cracking the code of making what is fundamentally quite a boring offer sound quite interesting and something that people are actually going to take action about, and then essentially just ripping that for everyone. Um, so yeah, I think sort of literally going back to the first thing you said, just kind of having that clarity on the niche, and that helps massively. Um, and and also I think it is just at the end of the day, it is very much just part of the process. Like you need to sort of be in that swamp at the start, like just trying things out and learning these lessons, because there's so many things that people will tell you over and over and over again, but until you actually like fuck it up yourself, or like you go through that particular problem, you just will not apply those things because you think, oh well, I'm the exception, I'm special, it doesn't apply to me, like this is for everyone else. um so if anyone watching this is kind of in that position, it's literally just the case of just sticking with it, and consistency as well, because it's so easy sort of when you get your first couple of clients in, you think, oh shit, like I just need to focus on just fulfilling for these guys and all of this. But then like churn is a real thing. We have done a pretty good job of minimizing that, to be fair to us. Um, but yeah, just kind of finding the niche, cracking the code of how to speak to these
Mhm.
people, and then basically just a volume game from there and staying consistent with it. Because, like as I say, once you get those first couple of deals in, it's then not a time when you then start thinking of slowing down. If anything, it's that point then when you know that what you're doing works and it's relevant to these people. So that's when you then really should be putting your foot down, and
Mhm.
ultimately starting to really scale up.
Mhm. And that's, I think, this is such a great point that you say, because that's what I see, obviously. when I coach everybody and when I have my one-on-ones and stuff like this, so many people shut down the outreach. Like they're having a certain amount of clients, 4 or 5 clients, and they shut down the outreach. And I'm like, why? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's something in the brain that is like, no, but this is too much now, it's too much work. Maybe they're also alone, they don't know how to employ people. You know what I mean, right? Like, why do you think it's like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I literally did that. I'll put my hands out. I
Also
think it's a
actually did it
case of
one
kind
time.
of,
But it's like, but I'm interested. Why we did
yeah.
that?
Well, I think, at least for me, obviously I can't speak for everyone, but I think it is kind of, you get your first couple of clients on, and because the whole thing's new, and you're really really conscious of doing a good job for them, and you just want to make sure that things go as well as possible for them. You're terrified of losing these clients or not doing a really really good job. You're so worried about getting those first couple of case studies, all of that sort of thing. um that then, and this is literally the position I was in, where it's like just all the focus was on these clients. But then at the same time, those first few clients you get, realistically, in the grand scheme of things, are probably pretty shit. Like, if we're just being honest. So you're sort of shooting yourself in the foot, because you're sinking all your time and effort into trying to make things work for clients that aren't really that good of a fit for you, or they're just not that great to work with, or they're really cheap, and that's why they took on your performance only offer at the very start. And so then you're basically in a position where you're putting all your time and effort into sort of making this thing work for people that, like, that they're not going to be there for the long run. So I think that's sort of one of the lessons learned, like especially sort of at the start, or like when you're sort of building something out, is like, don't obsess over the first few clients. Obviously, I'm not saying just like don't try, like fulfill, do what you say you're going to do and do it well, but don't, like, there's so many people out there. If you've got a market that's worth going after, there's so many people out there, or there's enough people that are of enough quality for you to work with. So monologue over. That's my piece on that bit.
Yeah,
But
if you stop the outreach, fucking start it tomorrow again. Like, let's be real.
yeah, do.
So true. Like, I mean, it's just we get overwhelmed, right? You're just like, oh, there's this overwhelm. Like, oh my God, I'm running 4 or 5 clients now, and I'm only doing the whole day working, and da, 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 da. And how can I get in more clients? Because again, I want to. That's what they always say. I first of all want to make this client successful. That's what they always say. I first of all want to make it really work for them. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, but you know, you're not going to go anywhere. For me, for example, I was in a similar situation years ago, and I remember I lost my the biggest client that I had. They paid me 12.5 grand a month, right? And I lost them. I'm like, shit, what do I do now? I just lost
Well, I think
half of
that's
my revenue.
understandable. Yeah.
That's fucked, right? And then I was like, okay. And then I did, after that, I was really happy about it, because like it was obviously a massive hit, but it made me start my outreach again, and then it made me grow and dribble my agency even, like, and triple the revenue after that again in a very quick time, just because I started my outreach again. I needed this hit, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what sometimes you need that, but like better you don't let it get there, and really, like, if you're like James is saying, if you're already having something that is working, don't stop your outreach. Just continue. And if you need to employ people, employ people. But don't stop your outreach, because momentum, like we always love to say, is something beautiful to write on, right?
Mm, absolutely. And like the momentum side, like it's it can't be understated how important it is. And like when it goes, it's like is this just fucking is the worst. But no, and like again, I'm not sort of trying to be all prophetic here. Like I literally did this myself. So if anyone is watching this who's in that position, like, do not stop. Like, that's when you need to be putting your foot down. And as you just said then, like, if you're overwhelmed with work, but then you're bringing in these new clients, well, great, you've got more money, you can start building out a team. So then you've literally solved your own problem. You've got more clients, you've got more revenue, you've got more money to be doing things with.
And you become a real
So
agency. not just a freelancer.
There we go.
Let's be real. Like, what are you doing with 4 clients by yourself? Well, you're not really an agency, are you? Okay, so yeah, cool. Another question that I have, James, like agency life obviously can be very intense, right? Constant client demands, team management, staying on top of changes. How do you prevent burnout without losing your competitive edge?
It's a good question, and something that I have struggled with, I'll admit. Um, I think first and foremost for me is like it is just like physical health. Like I think if you're physically weak and you're not taking care of yourself, you're eating shit food and just like you're not training, you're not pushing yourself physically. Like how do you expect yourself mentally to be able to cope with any sort of stress or anything? Like it might seem counterintuitive to not wanting to burn out, but I think like training consistently hard and and like really putting in that work in physically. I think like for me personally, like it's more of a mental exercise. It's more like mentally therapeutic going to the gym than physically. Like if you've had like if you say you've had like a real stressful day, it's all shit, and then you just go to the gym and you just take it out in the gym, and then all of a sudden afterwards you feel great. You've had that pause. You've got that mental clarity, and then you sort of into your evening, and you can kind of come at it fresh the next day. So yeah, so absolutely, like the physical health, training, eating right, to just keep the machine ticking over and make sure everything's like foundationally solid. Now, in terms of the other side of things, and again, as and this is something that I've spoken to you about at length, but like you do also need to allow yourself to switch off and rest. And this is something
Yeah.
that I was just not doing for the longest
Mhm.
time. And it wasn't until I think like I can't remember the exact numbers, but basically within like the first, let's say like 11, 12 months of running the agency, I literally had like I could count on like one hand how many days I had off, or like
Mhm.
days where I like obviously you got like your weekends or whatever, but like days where you actually consciously be like, right, no one can communicate with me. I'm not replying to
Yeah.
a single Slack notification, no emails, no calls, put you out of office on emails. Um, and like that is absolutely enormous, and something that I have admittedly really struggled with, because there's sort of this feeling like really guilty if I took time off,
Mhm.
or that I sort of like wasn't living up to potential. I was like letting people down or all of these things. But I think realistically, like having had sort of not well, a couple of months ago, like, I had like a nice few days off, and just like really just like recenter myself and just allow myself time to actually just fully process all of the noise, and all of the clutter that gets in up here, um, and ultimately is what like that is what causes burnout for me, at least anyway. It's just when you're like there's more thoughts going through your head than you can actually process or control, and it's just like it's just you're mentally overwhelmed, and so everything's just downstream of that, really. So yeah, so not being afraid to take time off. That doesn't mean just like fucking doss about and like like still put in a shift when you are working, like not being like being able to just be like, right, you know what, I am my own boss. No one, I'm not here to sort of please anyone. I'm here to do what I'm doing. I'm going to have a couple of days off. I'm going to go out in some nature. I'm not going to reply to anyone. Do not call me. All of these things. That really helps. And I think the sort of the final thing I'll add as well that I found really useful is just like it's just writing stuff down. Like I've got like I always have notepads. I've got notepads over there. There's one over there. I've got one here. Like just getting stuff out of your head and
Mhm.
into the actual like physical real world. Like no matter how ridiculous it is, like even if you just kind of sit there, you for let's say you sit there for like 5 minutes And in that 5 minutes, you just write down every single thought you have, every open loop you have, no matter how ridiculous or like with no specific theme or anything like that. And you just write all this shit down. And then afterwards, just like take a deep breath and just kind of read through it. And just that process of like taking things out of your head, seeing them in the physical real world, half the time you'll realize like, what I've been worried about this. Like this is absolutely ridiculous. Like when you see it written down, and then in your head, then that's that thought, that's that worry just gone instantly. And yeah, so and from that, just kind of the whole thing about kind of open loops and closing these loops and just sort of making sure that these sort of things that you have in your head that need to be done just get done. And again, I'm so guilty of not doing all of these things that I've just said. But I think that if anything, that means more that I've learned by doing these things, that they actually do make a real significant impact on the burnout side of things. So I mean, like, at least for me, I'd say those are probably three of the biggest things. What would you say for that? I'd be interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I have a few obviously on this. Number one is like I really like love meditating in the morning. Like first thing in the morning before I do anything else is just really sitting down, listening to my meditation. Normally I do 25 minutes like Dr. Joe Dispenza that I love because it just helps me with two things. Number one, it helps me to understand exactly the identity that I want to be, because that's basically what is always reminding me, like this is exactly who I want to be. And on the other hand, and that's actually even more interesting, it always also reminds me who I don't want to be. So basically, it makes me reflect on everything that I do in my day or did in my day, the day before, for example, where I was just going back into my old self, where I was just going back into a scarcity mindset, where I was just, you know what I mean? Like I catch myself doing this. And the more I do this, the better is it for my psyche, all right? Because the cleaner I get up here, like the more I understand myself and the less I'm going into circles of like overthinking and shit like this, because I prevent it through this, because I know I see myself doing it. So I'm basically always having a check-in every day with myself, where I'm basically putting myself a mirror. It's like, how have you been yesterday? Have you been the person that you want to be, or where do you slip away? And the more I understand and I catch myself slipping away, the less I'm slipping away. You know what I mean? So that's super powerful for me.
Yeah.
And then obviously after I go straight to the gym, okay? And then normally what I do after that is I put in a deep work session. So I normally block out completely, and I learned this from Levi, a roller, by the way. I block out completely my mornings. There's only one morning in the week that you can catch me. Like that's it, right? The rest is blocked out because it's really the time where I do proactive work, where I'm really thinking about like what we talked before, building the systems that I'm building right now, like really building proactive, like becoming a real CEO. Because I think the problem that I see with most of founders, they're like technician. If you have read The E-Myth by Michael A. Gerber, I think it is, it's an amazing book that I recommend everybody to read, by the way. Um, and he talks about there's this different kind of people, entrepreneurs, and I see so many in our world. There are technicians. They just really are in fulfillment the whole day, but they're not really doing CEO work. They're not really doing thinking about like how can I build up things, how can I improve stuff, how can I make more money, how can I do new offers. You know what I mean? They create one offer and stay with it for God knows when, but don't really improve it and don't really think what can I do to to improve my marching, blah 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 blah, all these things that you do as a CEO. They just don't do that, right? And then they wonder why they are stuck. So that's why, like in these 4 hours, normally, like I do these kind of tasks, and I blocked out, for example, full days now where I'm doing specific things. Like Monday, for example, you cannot book me. Monday is a day for me where I'm doing only CEO stuff, where I'm just really thinking about building out systems, stuff like this. And Friday, the same. I'm doing content on Friday. So like I'm only Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm mostly doing coaching, and Thursday I'm doing other stuff, right? But like this is basically how I build it up. Monday is my day. Well, we spoke about this, and I told you I recommend you doing the same. Monday is really like if you cannot do Monday, because for you as an agency, and I know it's tricky on the Monday because Monday is just like bath. I know and Mondays are like this, but like I still run the agency, but I don't have any more clients. Like I have clients, but like they're all really fucking cool with me. So otherwise, they wouldn't have, like, I don't have to run the agency, right? But like I run it because
Yeah.
these clients are like, most of them are friends of me and all business partners. Nobody of them is stressing me on the Monday. You know, like forget about it. It's not
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
happen. So I can do that. So I block out my Monday for that. And then like this how it's just you structure your day. Like you have to not just structure your day, I mean, you also have to structure your week. You have to structure your month from into. I don't think about time. I think about projects. You know, I completely changed this. Like I think because we are so into this 9 to 5 mindset in as well. Like just like 9 to 5, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, that, that. I can't be. I cannot do this. Like I said, like I love to work with my 5 task system. I mean, you guys maybe if you have watched other videos from me, you know that, right? So basically, always doing 5 tasks every day and then tick them and then select W for a win. Like that works super well for me. Or just task orientated, but I don't like to be time orientated. It's just not me. All right. Um, and like the other thing, like obviously, like I said, like meditate, go to the gym, and then obviously, also like you said, I take every Saturday off. Every day, every Saturday. I will not work on a Saturday. You will not see me working on a Saturday. It's not going to happen. And I started this some time ago because I also realized, like last year in Christmas, I was almost burning out as well. I was just working 24/7. I came to a place that I woke up basically like this with my head on the fucking how's it called keypad thing, and I was just like, bro, the fuck, man, I cannot continue like this. This is fucking nuts, right? And and so like I take Saturday completely off. That's what I always do. So basically from Friday until 5, 6, 7. It depends how long I work on a Friday until Sunday, 3, 4, 5. I'm not doing shit. I'm not looking
Mm.
into work, not at all. Like there's also time for my family, for my wife, for watching football because I love watching football. So I just take some time off, watch Bayern Munich, right? Because this is also something where I can really nice relax. Like honestly, if you do something like this and people tell you not to do it, I would never do that. I could never miss my football, right? So I just love watching football. I can super nice relax when I do that. Um, and then also what I do is I take small timeouts where I'm not taking my laptop with me. Because I know when I go 2 weeks on holiday, I anyway take my laptop with me, I will anyway work. All right. But when I do like take like 3, 4 days, like a long weekend off, I can don't like nothing is going to burn in 3, 4 days. Trust me. People are always like, oh, but I need to be
Yeah.
available for my client. No, you don't have to. No, you
Exactly.
just don't.
Exactly.
Right? And so like that's why I take these 3, 4 days off where I'm not even taking my laptop with me. And then I know also I'm not gonna work. And that's I'm also doing from time to time. So that's why I'm right now I don't like plus obviously like I do something that I absolutely love doing. Like I love doing these kind of things. I love doing content for you guys. I love to help you guys to develop, to succeed. Like this is just what I love doing. So I'm not for me it doesn't really even feel like work. That's the next thing, right? But I still put this stuff in because I still know, because for example, I can give you a very good example. I had my boss at the first time, if you listen to this, I don't think so. Maybe he's listening my channel, Herbert Rehmer, right? He was my boss that I was, when I was working in a fitness center. And first of all, it was like really bad. He was almost throwing me out, but then I lost my driving license, so I had to stop drinking. I become, I become the best. I become super good after that. And I become the fitness studio manager at this time. And he helped me a lot becoming the person that I'm today because he was always challenging me. Like always, he was the one that started to teach me the why questions. Why? You get fucking crazy. Like, what do you want from me? I just told you, right? But he was like always going into the essence that was freaking me out. But I'm still using it today with my clients because if you ask why, you come to a point that people just tell you the truth. They're like, yes, it's
Yeah.
because of this. You know what I mean? Like that's what it
Yeah.
is.
There's nowhere else for them to go. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And he told me that, right? And like this is something, but why I'm pointing him out? Because he absolutely loved what he was doing. But he had a massive burnout. He couldn't go outside for like 6 months. So like don't think just because you love what you're doing, you don't need time off. This is what I want to tell you with that, right? So this is the thing, because you still need to recover. You still need the time to relax, right? And it's an interesting point because like when we come to that, I don't know if you have read what's the name? Relentless, I believe it is, right? The guy that trains
I can't say I have.
Kobe Bryant and like you train Michael Jordan and all these guys, right? Tim Grover, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. What he said was so interesting to me. He said like people like LeBron James, Ronaldo, and all of these guys, what is the main focus of their training? But what is the main focus of
Sleep.
their life, actually? What do you think?
The sleep.
Recovery. Like they
Yeah.
plan their whole life for recovery. Like that's the number one focus that they have. Training comes second. That's
Yeah.
why people like Ronaldo and LeBron James, they can still in this high age be so successful. Because they always, the main
Yeah.
focus from the start of their career has been always recovery. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it. So if
That
you
is
want to be a
super
big player and
interesting.
you only want to just like hustle culture, you're doing a massive mistake because you're going to burn out yes or yes.
Yeah. And it's like it's like, yeah, brilliant. You're like forcing yourself to sit in front of the laptop and like just like grind out a load of work. But at the end of the day, it's like what you're producing, like the quality is going to be so shit. But not only that, it's like if you take a bit of time off to like actually fully sort of decompress and like get back to being your sort of the best version of yourself, then when you come back, you're going to be producing like not only higher quality, but you'll be able to get so much more quantity done as well. Like you can just like
Yes.
rattle through things. It's like when, because, and I found this a few times, it's like you kind of you get that you'll have those like sort of periods where like you are kind of getting towards burnout, where it's just like you're doing what you need to do, but it's just like fucking hell. It's like you've got the brakes on, you're like dragging yourself through it. But
Yeah.
then even just like with like you say, like just a long weekend and just like completely detach, then it's all of a sudden it's like, right, this is literally what I signed up to do. Like this is why I do what I do. Like let's attack, like let's get this stuff done. And then it becomes like you sort of get back into that place of like it being more like play as opposed to work. And then that's when you can like really fucking push on nicely. And like life is just so much better when you're in that sort of space. And yeah, I should should definitely take my own advice a bit more on this one. That's for sure. But I think absolutely something that I am getting better at, and kind of through this sort of initial period with being in the sort of agency space, something that I have absolutely learned. And it's just so true. It's so true. And the point about recovery as well, like it makes complete sense. Like,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
what if
Exactly. Like people never think in this direction, but it's so important, right? Like, I mean, obviously, like, don't take me wrong. You can have like Ferrari sprints, what I call it, right? Or like whatever Levi calls them Ferrari sprints. I don't think he invented it. He stole it from somebody else, right? But it's a brilliant thing to say like, okay, I'm locking in now for the next 2-3 months and I just really lock in. That's cool. Do that. But you cannot do that for a year. This is my point. Right? So like if you want to
yeah
lock in for 3 months, cool, do it. I also do that sometimes, you know what I mean? Cool. But you need to give yourself time. And like especially if you're so long in the business like we are, you need to plan this in methodically, right? Strategically. Like because otherwise you just work. And if you're not putting these blockers in where you say no, you will continue to work. And that's why you have to
yeah
build on this block. Like that's really what I think. And also, but the cool thing with me is my wife as well, because obviously, like she sometimes wants to spend time with me, and I feel guilty. So I just take 3-4 days where I'm not taking my laptop with me, also for her, obviously, right? Because like, I mean, if I take my laptop with me, I'm working anyways. I mean, my wife is the most supportive person that you can imagine. The cool thing about my wife is that her father also is an entrepreneur. And I think if you're an entrepreneur, when the father of your wife or your girlfriend is an entrepreneur, massive advantage, right? Because they're used to it. I will not be all the time like, yeah, but why not spending time with me? Bro, right?
yeah no, you can't be
That's the
having
worst
that.
thing.
You can't be having that.
No, you can't be
Oh
having that. You can't be all staying there, right? So that's the thing. So
no.
but yeah, so like I think it's so important to put in this time. Also, especially exactly when we speak about relationships, if you want to have a nice relationship, you need to give them also some time sometimes, even if it's just a few time, but at least put in something strategically where you also spend some time with your loved ones, right? Because if you don't do that, you will lose them. And then you are rich and sad
Yeah,
because
and
you fuck
burnout.
up all your relationships. And like this is also like something that I don't understand. Like I have so many amazing friends. Like I have you, like I have, you know, I cannot even count how many amazing friends I have. but I always will also nurture these friendships. If I like somebody, I will reach out. I will do like, let's come together. I will say like, come, let's do like this. I will always nurture this as well because I think it's like I'm not the kind of person, and I'm also not that coach, by the way. If you want that coach, go somewhere else. That just tell you work, hustle, 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 hustle. Don't take care of your relationships, right? Just don't care about it because you don't need it. Just put yourself in the bunker and just work for 6 months. For 6 months you can even again you can do it for 6 months, but don't do it for a year, right? But like I'm not the kind of coach. I'm like I don't live to work, right? I work to live. And I want to live my life on a fucking high level and I want to enjoy life, right? I want to travel. I want to see the world. I'm just not the kind of guy that's just like sitting up 1 year just in front of his thing. That's why I'm also like, the thing is this, if you want to have more freedom again, that's when you build out systems. Like we talked before, I'm building a system right now that automates my business so that I can only do what I love doing. That means only doing content for you guys and coaching. And the rest I automate or outsource everything. Because then I'm in my 20%. And that's the next thing that I would recommend you doing, guys. If you read 10x is easier than 2x, amazing book, right? It's all about really being in your 20%. Like the 20% that you are, everybody has a superpower. Find out what that superpower is and live for that superpower. And give that superpower and share this superpower, this gifts that you have in yourself that we're getting back by human gifts that no AI has your gifts, right? You have specific human gifts that you share with the world. This is your 20%. If you are in your 20%, you are unstoppable because you love what you do. And it's not that it can even work. Like for me, like for example, I love doing podcasts with my friends, like James, it's fucking epic, right? It's just like I really enjoy that. And so if you can go there where you only in your 20%, and then you take some recovery time, you have a fucking amazing life. That's my advice.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the dream, really, isn't it? Like just work on what you love, have the freedom to do what you want, and be with people that you love and care about. Sign me up to that. That sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah, exactly right. I would say, man. Next question, because obviously, when you started out with your agency, right? Can you remember the first time when you basically set your prices, and how did you feel about it, and how did they change over time?
Yeah, let me have a little think about that one. Yeah, so my first, like when I first started this agency, like I was doing some lead gen stuff before, but I kind of wouldn't really count that as in the same sort of chapter as this. When I started this agency, the very, very first client I got was it was a software company, this weird niche specific software. I won't kind of go too much into it, but it was, again, well, we'll stay on pricing rather than me going off topic. But in terms of the pricing side, it was it's so easily done. Um, but with the pricing side, it was literally just like a paper lead structure, just to get someone in. If memory serves, it was like 350 quid per like interested lead. But then again, going back to what I was saying earlier about like not getting sort of married to these first couple of clients, like looking back,
Yeah.
that offer was if you could draw up the worst possible offer for cold email, it would have been that offer. But then I was there in the early days thinking like, fuck, I need to make this work. I've got to make this work. Just like smacking my head against a brick wall. Got them a few leads, but Jesus Christ, it was painful. And then from there, kind of went like they had like a couple of deals that I think were like sort of like setup plus like pay per lead, and then basically now like then it was at that point then we sort of shifted to retainers, and then now just do retainers, just to keep everything as smooth and as sexy as possible. So like retainers, and then wherever like with a good portion of clients, depending on the sort of the particular offer that they're on, we'll do like a retainer plus like a percentage commission, like rev share essentially, which is, I think, like if you're going to be working with people for in the long run, having that rev share in is so nice. If like for short term, unless it's kind of like an ultra compelling offer, like I wouldn't worry about it too much. But in the long term, like when you're working with people for like a good old period of time, and they're just like they're closing these deals, and then all of a sudden it's just out of the blue, there's a very nice invoice heading its way to you. Like that's very, very nice. But in terms like invoices, retainers just make life so much less stressful. Like you know what's coming in each month. You can plan, and it's just so much less faff as well. Like so much less admin than like chasing up every single lead. What happened with this one? Or did this turn into a meeting? Or what stage are they at? And the thing is like, can you be fucked? Like it's just like it's not worth it. Like again, and I think these are all kind of case dependent, but I think as a general rule of thumb, like retainer, at least in my experience, is like definitely the optimal model. Like if you've got like a ridiculous offer that's like super compelling, and you've got like a massive market that like you can quickly get wins in, then pay per lead, like yeah, that makes so much sense. But at least for what we do, and in my experience, the retainer model, and then ideally retainer plus a bit of rev share. But to the question about kind of how I was sort of felt about that. Yes, I think at the start, it's like you kind of it's just you don't know, you haven't quite yet sort of come to terms or sort of worked out what you're worth.
Yeah.
So you kind of just accept pretty much anything if it sounds good enough.
It's true.
So, and like this again, like it's one of those things where you have to go through it to kind of to learn. But yeah, like when kind of pitching the first couple of sort of upfront like setup fee plus pay per call or whatever. Like I think it's like it's just one of those. It's like the first time, naturally, it's uncomfortable, it's new, you don't really know what the crack is, but it's just as with most things in life, like it's just a reps game at the end of the day. And then once you've done it once, you know it's possible. So then it's like, yeah, this is so sound. Like I can just do this again and again and again. So, and when it came to the retainer side, you know, like we were, when we were sort of like really starting to pick up, like we were just kind of like, we just sort of wanted to test the boundaries and just like kind of just push our luck and see how high we could get it, which is a lot of fun. Because when you kind of you get the biggest one yet, it's like that's a really good feeling. And then next time it's like, oh, we'll try and go, try and keep going higher and higher. Obviously, you need to make sure that your clients are actually getting value for however much you're charging. Otherwise, they're not going to be your clients for very long.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's just sort of a case of just testing things out, really. And at the start, it's going to suck. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to know what to say or how much to charge. But you very quickly, once you start delivering, these people start getting real world results, and you can see the difference you're making for people and their companies, their lives. You're like, right, well, this is actually fucking worth some cash. Like this isn't just like, I'm not just going to accept like putting blood, sweat, and tears into this on the off chance that we get you results. Like our time is actually valuable and worthwhile, so we will be charging accordingly. But yeah, so I think that's more or less my kind of the pricing journey that we've been on.
I love it, man.
Are you like with the couple of, like with your clients, like what sort of structures are you on?
Exactly the same. So basically, retainer plus rev share. This is my normal model. And then obviously with the marketplaces, this is more like the completely different story with the marketplaces, because They don't want to do GTV. They don't want to do really rev share. Like the new marketplace that I take on now from my friend, I'm going to have a rev share of the whole GTV. That's going to be very interesting because that's a long time project. This is going to be, he builds out his own marketplace, you know, something like Amazon. He builds this out and I basically help him to fulfill it up. And I have a complete rev share thing on the whole clients that I bring in. So that's
Nice.
massive, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this
very
is
nice.
really beautiful. The other thing that I do with the other marketplace, I have like for everybody that goes live and starts selling, I'm getting £400. So that's also quite the thing, but like, yeah, I said something before, but I'm not getting into it. So for these guys, I'm building the system. Forget about it. Anyways, I think I ever watched that. It doesn't really matter. So like, but yeah, that's what I do. Um, and then I have the other guys' shapes that are really cool. Like this is these insoles. I don't know if I ever show you to them, like the insoles that I have that are like basically you put them in your shoe.
Insoles.
And yeah, like but they're like your 3 feet normally. Like you're normally when we walk barefoot, that's basically how your foot is formed. All right, so that's the most healthy form of walking away, of walking around. All right, and like what they have built is basically a form thing that you put in your shoe that is exactly like like your foot is. So that's super. Like when you walk with them, bro, like they're so amazing. I have them in every my shoes. I gave them to all my family. Everybody has them because they are amazing, and they are a main sponsor of Hyrox as well. And what I do, for example,
Right.
for them right now, it's like I'm reaching out to Hyrox, all the Hyrox gyms in the world, and selling them these Hyrox soles because they created a special edition for Hyrox. That's what I do with them as well. They have also a retainer and rev share. So I have a few different deals, and then I do some other stuff for friends where like whatever, bro. Like the funny thing is, I wanted to get out of lead gen, but now everybody's like, Johannes, can you do this? Can you do that? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. I
No, well,
don't
that's
even want to do anymore. Like, but I'm like, okay,
no,
whatever, bro. Like, but that's why I
no.
want to automate everything, like the whole fulfillment stuff. Like, I'm just using lead gen as a cash cow, and then use it for my coaching business, put it into ads, blah blah blah. Like that's the perfect vision. So automate the whole lead gen thing completely, and that's what I'm in the process right now. Because also I'm very dialed in with what I do. It's like completely niche down, right? And I think almost nobody does what I do. Actually, that's the funny story. I came into this by mistake, more or less, right? But like, I don't even want to say too much about it, and otherwise you guys are starting to doing it well. Fuck off. But basically, right, that's what I do. And it's also not easy to get to them. Trust me, I'm very lucky to get to them. But anyways, so this is a few things that I still do agency wise, and then obviously my main focus is on coaching. This is my life. This is my purpose. This is what I feel inside. This fire burning inside me. That I'm like, this is exactly what I want to do. And especially with agency owners, because you are just my kind of people, right? Like I just love how you think. I just align with you in the best way. And then my obviously all my case studies like with you and all the other people. I mean, we can go into this, right? But like. I just love you guys helping succeed. When I have people that are like grabbing around and like under 10K and then I put them on 30K, or like I have people that are having a massive imposter syndrome working for other people, but they have an amazing entrepreneurial spirit and they start doing their own business. This is really firing me up. This is what I want to do. And this is where I see my life going in the next years. And keeping the agency as a cash cow, yeah, why not? Right? Like if I can, like if the agent, like if you guys build an agent, right, that does that, call us. Like,
Yeah.
please hit us up. But like exactly so. So that's basically how I manage it. Getting back to this, like basically about like obviously like James Oz, you need to know James Oz is a client of mine in Limitless or Wired. So they can go a little bit into mindset, like maybe can you remember the first time someone made you question whether you were good enough at something? Maybe remember also how old were you and how did that shape your relationship with confidence?
Christ. Hour and 24 in, and you got me thinking like this. Jesus.
That's me, right? That's why you love me.
Yeah.
A little bit of a challenge.
Yeah. Could you repeat that question? Sorry.
Of course. So, can you remember the first time someone made you question whether you were good enough at something? How old were you, and how did that shape your relationship with confidence?
I think I was I was quite fortunate in that, or like I am quite fortunate in that, like I've got like an incredibly supportive family around me, um, and sort of have had since day one essentially. Um, so when it comes to kind of sort of beliefs around kind of sort of self-worth or things like that, um, I think obviously there have been times where like people have sort of made me question that. But I think that going through the course as well, I think one thing that I did kind of uncover is that like from like a fairly young age, there's that I was always kind of told that I like my parents like instilled like a real like self belief in me, and like and really kind of got me like got me to a position where it's kind of like I have this massive potential and I can kind of do anything that I set my mind to, and that basically like the sort of the world is yours type thing, which is great. So
Yeah,
grateful that that was the case and not the other way, because that would have been awful.
yeah,
Um, but then as we've discussed at length, and as I've gone through the course, it kind of dawned on me that I think I kind of internalized that to meaning that if I if I don't sort of realize this potential that I have, that I am intrinsically like a massive failure, or that I'm failing, or that I'm like I'm just wasting my life basically. So this kind of was a bit of a breakthrough I had with the course, and it kind of ties into a number of different things that or like sort of tendencies or like habits. Like sort of I'm a bit of a perfectionist, or and like these other things that kind of all tie into basically just like wanting to kind of live up to this internal immeasurable potential. And so again, I think I've gone completely the wrong way from your question here, but I think it is still relevant. But and then like kind of going through the course, like being able to kind of like really unpack this, but then also reading The Gap and the Gain, which you recommended
mhm,
to me as well,
yeah. Amazing book,
and
boys.
this which I recommend to anyone that is listening or watching. But realizing that like having that mindset of kind of always comparing to the sort of a sort of ideal self, or like an ideal version of anything really, is like you're 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 guaranteeing that you're going to be miserable, and you're not going to be happy or content in what you do, because you're measuring how far you've come against something that you're measuring how far you've gone against the horizon, and the horizon always moves. The horizon doesn't actually exist, that you can see it, but the further you go, the horizon keeps moving. Like no matter how much progress you make, or no matter what you do, what you achieve, what you're able to accomplish, you're still going to feel like shit internally, because in your mind you haven't got anywhere, because you have this sort of vision of happiness being arrived at when you get to this imaginary place that isn't tangible and doesn't exist. So being able to sort of flip that around and kind of looking and measuring backwards from the place you started at, or like where you've come from, and measuring all the things that you have achieved, then when you kind of it puts everything into a perspective where you're then you wherever you are, you're just measuring against all of your wins and all of the things that you've actually managed to pull off that have got you to this exact situation. And that for me has honestly been like game changer, huge. So, and I think like I like that sort of that like mental model applies to sort of, it applies like personally obviously, but like business wise as well. And I think kind of tying back into the thing on burnout as well, it's like where if you're just like banging the drum, thinking, oh, I've got to hit this particular revenue milestone, I've got to do this, and you don't take time to kind of like stop and like look around and sort of enjoy the view of how far up the mountain you've come, then you're just signing yourself away to just being miserable and fucking hating what you do. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
No, bro, I
I
loved
do
it.
think
I
that's
mean,
very relevant.
yeah, it was super relevant. I think it was amazing how you answered the question. I really appreciate that one because I think there's a lot of people in a very similar situation that are always looking for like you always said you had these undefined goals, milestones. They didn't even know what it was, and you always felt like you never get there, and like you always felt like in the gap, and like in the gap. If you wanted to, okay, I always highly recommend you the book, by the way, because so many entrepreneurs are like this. You always just say like, you never be there where you want to be because you don't even know where you want to be, but it's just always not enough. It's just always not enough. It's just this is just not a nice place to be in. And I think how you explained it was beautiful. So I really appreciate that. One more question, two more I do have actually for you, then I'll let you go. So, how did Limitless Rewired help you to find your hidden blockers, and how did this change your life?
So in terms of how it sort of allowed me to identify these blockers, I think basically being given the sort of the tools and the techniques to actually know where to look in the first place, like whether that be the sort of like the visualizations, whether it be going through the different exercises, the different modules, which each kind of focus on a specific area, and all kind of build on each other. So you've got this like compounding effect where you start off and you kind of just like scraping the surface, and then you kind of develop the skill set, develop the tools to then kind of work layers and layers and layers and under, and just keep going down to where you basically hit the kind of like you find the diamonds where it's like, holy shit, like this is something that I've had in my mind for years and years and years, and I just accepted was just part of my reality. I didn't put it there. I don't want it there. It doesn't serve me, but for some reason I've just clung on to that, and that's been part of my existence. So yeah, so like being able to go through this process, like develop these skills, like use these tools, has just been invaluable. And I think that one of the biggest things for me is that it's kind of from the course, from Limitless Rewired, is that there's so many different areas that are covered, that you may see if you're like scrolling through social media and you see some like thing about like, oh, if you do visualization, it's like you'll get all this da da da, and then there's a bit about like sort of questioning limiting beliefs and all these different things. But with Limitless Rewired, everything is just in one place and it's guided, and you go through the entire thing. So like rather than trying to spend like hours and hours sort of trying to understand all these different processes, it's all there in one place. What was your actual question? I've done it again. I do apologize.
I don't know, I love it, man. Like it's great. I just basically said like, how did it help Limitless Wild help you to find your hidden blockers, and how did it change your life? So I think you're answering that right now. So you're good. Don't worry.
Good. Good. Yeah. But yeah, I think and in terms of like how like basically just being like I think the biggest takeaway is just becoming like so much more conscious of everything in terms of like the thought processes, the patterns that appear, like realizing that these things that you like really believe in but don't know where they come from, and like that you know are no good for you, but like rather than just accepting them, like sort of questioning, like taking the time to become conscious of like what triggered that, like where was this installed, like where did this come from. It's super powerful, and it's like it's basically given me the kind of the tool set, so where like I think it's a very fair statement for me to say I like the chance of me having a really good day is dramatically increased if I do the course that day. Like that's just a fact from going through it so far. Like it really has kind of made me a lot more comfortable with like just myself and like my mind at the end of the day. So yeah, I think life changing, I think is very fair without trying to sound too hyperbolic.
Man. And also like because everybody is always in for the money, like like all these hustlers out there, like can you maybe also tell them like how much on revenue did you did more when you went through the process?
Well, at the very start, I mean, we were sort of flirting with around 10K, and then like I say, since then, like basically tripled in size. So yeah, so believe me, it's good stuff. And it's not even just about like, not even just on the business side, like personally, just feeling so much more self-assured, able to actually sort of understand like myself and kind of the lens that I see the world through, which like obviously the financial side of things is awesome and like what we're all chasing, but like internally it's had a huge impact as well, which you can't really put a price on, I'd say.
So true, like because like this is the thing that I always have. People come in because they're like, yeah, I'm gonna double, triple my revenue, like James, like Constantine, like all these guys. And when they're in there, like, bro, it's so much more, man. It's just so much more, like you say, because it's really life changing in a very, very deep way that people only understand when they're inside. And they're like in the first weeks, they're like, oh man, it's not just all about the money, man. This stuff is about so much more. That's why I think it's beautiful, like you said it. All right, final question. And this one is for every entrepreneur listening who is stuck in their own head right now. If you could send a message back to the version of yourself that was running on corrupted mental programming, battling imposter syndrome, playing small, what would you tell them?
5 words. I think it's 5. You are not your thoughts.
Boom! Well, I will love it, brother. Love it. Exactly. This is so good. Okay. This is a great ending, man. You are not your thoughts. So true, guys. Like, and honestly, if you want to learn more about you are not your thoughts, listen, watch my video, The Imposter Syndrome Killer, where I talk about that and where I basically help you that you can separate yourself from these stupid thoughts that are basically in your head and you are not this. So watch that video if you want to check this out. By the way, also, I have created a Skool group now. This is a completely free Skool group, right? And it's only free for the first 250 and it's already like 75 in now since 1 week I opened it up. So if you want to need to be fast, because then I'll be pretty sure I'm charging for it. And what I have in there, if you watched it until the end, you may find this interesting. There's a course that I call the Natural Success Code, which basically gives you the essence of what James just explained. So basically will help you to find all your hidden blockers in 7 days and gives you back your natural success mindset that you had as a kid before society and education and your teachers installed all that bullshit. All right. Guys, so yeah, thank you very much for watching. Like I said, the link is below to the Skool group. Check it out. You're going to see me on Thursday again with another raw and authentic one from me. I'm going to be back all in right now, like you have seen already. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is always like this. It was a short break, actually. I apologize for that because I just had to build the school and all the course and all that stuff, but that's all done now. So I'll be there now again for you 3 times a week. James, one more time. Thank you very, very much for joining. It was a massive pleasure talking to you, and I believe massive value for my community as well. So yeah, thank you for being on.
Thank you, sir. It's been a lot of fun, and thank you for being you.
Thank you, brother. Boom.